So to give you a view of life at Burnley Football Club and the main reasons why I often went for a 4-4-2, sometimes literal, got no problem with that. You know, people talked about it for years. Sometimes we adapted it, as I'll hopefully show you. So the basic principle of a 4-4-2, and against popular belief, you know, the modern era of kind of 4-3-3, and now more so in the last couple of seasons, the 3-5-2 or 3-4-3, whichever way you look at it. These formations have been here for years. I mean, you know, like 50, 60, 70 years. There's books out there telling stories of World Cups, you know, 60, 70 years ago where people were playing a version of a 4-3-3. So before we go into the detail, this is my opinion on football. We're talking about yardages. You know, to give you an overview before I go into specifics about us, you drop a player in here and that becomes a number 10, but it's literally 5 yards. So you drop a player in here and then adjust that player there, and that becomes a big difference. And yet, literally, you're virtually on this anyway. It's a matter of yardage. Some teams obviously express this considerably differently. Man City, probably the best components of making this really feel different by making the pitch so expansive. So I'll start with us not having the ball. So we're defending. So if you're playing against a 4-3-3, which is often, particularly in the Premier League. So all we're saying is, can we lock on? Can we be brave from start points like goal kicks? But once the game gets going, then we know we're going to have to drop our midfield to deal with their midfield. And all it is one of our centre forwards is dropping around this play here. Against the real top sides, sometimes this player has to go south side when you're defending, particularly as the game moves into this area of the pitch. Often we're trying to keep this player north side. And then they just pivot across the pitch. So, sorry to make that clear, they're playing now across their back four. They open up, 2 centre-half split, and they start playing here. So centre forward locks on, stays north side. If they play a fast pass across there, he breaks off and he drops back in. So it's a very simple situation to start from a 4-4-2. The benefit being, in theory, it's quite logical for the players to follow. You know, there's not loads of information. That should be quite standard for centre forwards to understand that scenario. So now we're looking at, when we've got the ball, what are we going to do with it? So defensive structure is in place. The team should know that. We keep the 4-4-2. We use the 4-2-4-2 wisely because of the simple lines of movement. And we look during that 4-4-2 defensive scenario to use cover space, cover distance. Not always man for man, but at some point you have to go lock on man for man, of course.